10 News.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare. And that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 844-45-BIBLE. That's 844-45-BIBLE. 844-45-BIBLE.
Rocket 102.5.
With your updated forecast, I'm staff meteorologist Paul Trombley from the Weatherology Weather Center. Cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun today, with a chance of rain showers. Daytime highs approaching 74. Winds out of the south, 15 to 20 miles per hour. Chance of thunderstorms tonight. Lows level off around 52. Overcast. Chance of thunderstorms tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 64. Cloudy skies. Turning warmer Sunday and Monday with highs in the low 70s. Scattered showers possible both days. Take a look at the extended forecast. 79 Tuesday, 68 Wednesday, and 73 on Thursday. To recap, we should top out at 74 today, low of 52 tonight, high of 64 tomorrow. Get up to the minute weather updates from the Weatherology Weather Center. I'm staff meteorologist Paul Trombley on this NWKS radio station. Currently 57.
The one hail of a sale continues at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Get huge savings on not just lightly hailed on vehicles, but also ones that don't have hail or have had the hail fixed. How about a 2024 GMC Sierra 1500 SLE with hail up to $13,000 off when trading in an eligible vehicle, now only $49,000. A 24 Chevy Tahoe RST with hail up to $14,000 off, now just $58K. It's one hail of a sale, and it continues at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Online at hurlchev.com.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Your livelihood is important to you. You work hard to succeed in your farming operation, crop, livestock, home, vehicles, and special needs. We have you covered. Discounts are available for new business, remodeling, hail-resistive roofing, multi-policy, and many more. Optional coverage endorsements as well for machinery ingestion and equipment breakdown. Umbrella coverage for additional coverage on your home, farm, and auto. See the girls at the insurance agency at 1020 Main in Goodland or call 785-899-5011.
If you take electric or natural gas service from Midwest Energy, you're a co-op member. Midwest Energy is holding its annual meeting of members on Monday, October 21st, 10 a.m. at the Hilton Garden Inn in Hayes. Join us for a short meeting and maybe win one of several great door prizes. Again, that's the Midwest Energy annual meeting, Monday, October 21st, 10 a.m. at the Hilton Garden Inn in Hayes. Midwest Energy, a customer-owned cooperative making energy work for you.
Even though your attention has turned back to school with events and activities, you just can't forget everything going on at home. That's where your local Hoover Lumber Ace hardware stores in Goodland and Colby come in. Keep the lawn in check with mowers, blowers, and trimmers from Craftsman, Toro, and Ego. They are still your local Benjamin Moore paint retailer, and they still have that amazing selection of outdoor grills and griddles from Traeger, Weber, and Blackstone. Plus, their helpful and knowledgeable staffs are some of the best in the Northwest. It's all at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby. Open every day but Sunday.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
Being a Nebraska football fan these past few years and watching this team week in and week out, I kind of compare it to like doing drugs. You know you shouldn't do it, but you can't stop. Kids, don't do drugs.
The region's only local sports talk.
Not this again.
Yes, this again.
Broadcasting on Goodland's Rocket 102.5, simulcasting on Goodland's 730 Gold KLOE.
Guy is everywhere.
Discussing it all from the preps
Brumbaugh fakes the three, fires it from the corner. Yes!
To the pros.
They set up the screen. McLaughlin has it with Miners in front. McLaughlin's got a first down inside the 10, inside the 5. Touchdown, Denver.
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, as well as the Insurance Agency, Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work. Oh my goodness! Big Christmas has tied it! The ultimate present under the tree! 3, Fry, deep drive, left field, Fry's watching, it is a walk-off home run! David Fry lights up the Cleveland night!
Second down and 10 at the 34. Here comes a blitz. Rattler rolls. The ball popped up in the air, and it's picked off by Cody Barton. Steps through a tackle, and Barton is going to take it all the way for a Denver pick six. He backs into the end zone to take a Denver win back west.
And good Friday morning, everybody. Welcome inside the Morning Blitz. Broadcasting, as always, on Goodland's Rocket 1025, AM 730 Gold KLOE, the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream on X, Facebook, YouTube, and, of course, NWKSradio.net. Ross Volkmer, Max Gershon with you here on a Football Friday, as we like to call it here on the Morning Blitz. A lot of football will be discussed. Another week of high school football on tap for tonight. We'll touch on that. We will get into the other big games of this weekend, whether it's K-State going to West Virginia or Kansas in search of that elusive first Big 12 Division I football win. We'll get to that coming up here in today's program as well. So we've got plenty of things to get to. And John Betts, our good friend from Kansas Pregame Magazine, is going to stop by, and he'll visit with us about the local sports scene, what to expect tonight for high school football. And also, maybe even touch a little bit on volleyball, possibly a little bit as well with John, as the postseason is upon us, starting up here on Monday. But, man, a lot of things to get into right off the bat. First and foremost, I got to throw one thing at her. I cut Max off. I can just see it on his. I was going to say, I got one thing I got to throw out here real quickly before I forget. But I forgot to mention yesterday, and I don't know why I did, but congratulations to Colby Community College Volleyball. They had a top 5 victory on the road on Wednesday night. They took down Barton in Great Bend. That is a huge win and revenge from earlier this year when they lost in what was a humongous game at the Event Center. They win in 4 sets over Barton. They dropped the first, win 3 right after that to take down Barton. And that's a huge win. It's a top 5 win. And that also evens them up in the overall league standings right now. Both teams tied at the top at 10-1. And CCC Volleyball is at home on Sunday. I know it was scheduled for Monday. It's a schedule change. But Colby Community College Volleyball is supposed to be at home on Monday hosting Pratt. That has been changed. It is now going to be on Sunday because Colby High School Volleyball needs the Event Center to host postseason volleyball. So that's why that all happened. But congratulations to head coach Kerry Jones and the Lady Trojan volleyball team on a successful victory over there in Great Bend on Wednesday. I don't know why in the world I forgot that yesterday, but I got done with the show and I was looking at my notes like, you got to be kidding me. Completely forgot about that.
It's a volleyball city over here in Colby right now. It's great to see. Exciting stuff.
A lot of great volleyball for sure happening. Also happening today, it is the first day of hopefully 2 days for state tennis. We want to pass out our best wishes and well wishes, even though they won't hear us because they're already there and probably getting started. If they haven't started now, it's going to start soon. To Goodland's Addie Owens, Colby's, I think it's Allison Zimmerman, as well as Tribune Greeley County's Annabelle Schneider and Mia Reynolds. Those 4 ladies will be competing at the state tennis tournaments today. Zimmerman and Owens will be in the 4A singles there in Topeka, and the doubles team of Schneider and Reynolds will be in Wichita. It is a double elimination tournament. I thought it was interesting. I was looking at some of the early matchups, and Addie Owens, I think, is like the 16th seed. She's got to play the 17th seed, and that's Clarissa Sunuki, who is from Ulysses, who's a girl they played just this last week to get to the state tournament. So she faces her in the first round. And if you win that match, no matter who does, you have to play the number 1 overall seed. So that's the tough part there. But nonetheless, good luck to all those ladies as they begin their journeys in state tennis. Are you much of a tennis guy? It looks like you could have been a kid who played tennis growing up. I don't know why.
No.
No.
Was tennis was the same season as baseball.
That's true. That would make sense.
I never got into tennis.
All right. Well, anyway, good luck to the ladies today with that. Boy, how about baseball last night, Max? That was a night. I mean, anytime you can have a 2-run bomb to tie it by the man nicknamed Big Christmas, it doesn't get a whole lot better. And then David Fry with a 2-run jack to lift the Guardians to a come-from-behind win. They were trailing 5-3 going into the bottom of the ninth, and they get the win over the Yankees. That's huge. I don't know about you, but I don't know how much that could possibly swing momentum in that series.
Well, I did say yesterday the Guardians were going to take this game, but I think what may have changed, in my opinion, from yesterday is how the rest of the series looks. Because yesterday I said Guardians will win this game and take one, but then I think the Yankees will win the rest of the games of this series and head to the World Series. But the way the Guardians won last night may change what tonight looks like in the rest of this series. We'll see. But I mean, my goodness, that's one of the best playoff games I've ever seen. That was just incredible. 2 outs in the ninth. Big Christmas, the rookie Noel comes up. As soon as he hits the ball, as soon as he hits it, he knows that bat just immediately left his hands as soon as he hit that baseball. And I want to say, Aaron Judge had finally gotten his signature moment in the postseason, tying the game off Emmanuel Clase with a 2-run home run, and it lasted 30 minutes. It lasted 30 minutes. His signature moment lasted 30 minutes, and now he'll be searching again for that signature moment because, of that incredible comeback from the Guardians. And then David Fry, of course. That's the great thing about the postseason in baseball is there's always those heroes that kind of are reoccurring characters, you could say, that you didn't see or didn't know of. A lot of people didn't know of David Fry and Big Christmas during the regular season, but here they are, and they're the heroes in the postseason. So, I mean, what a game. My jaw was on the floor for the last 3 innings of that. It was perfect baseball.
Made up for the blowout that was in the NL, where the Dodgers have taken a commanding 3-1 lead over the Mets. There's no way of getting around that. The Dodgers have just absolutely cleaned up. Shohei Ohtani, a leadoff homer. He ended up scoring 4 times in this game against the Mets last night, and that series is over. You might as well just put the Dodgers in the World Series at this point in time. But yeah, 10-2 the final there. They rout the Mets. Mookie Betts had a huge night, went 4 for 5, had a 2-run double and a 2-run homer, so 4 ribbies and 4 runs scored. Big night for Mookie. The high-priced talent of LA finally paid off right there, and they're going to make themselves a World Series appearance.
Yeah, and I think this was no surprise. As soon as they signed Shohei Ohtani, you thought, okay, well, this is where they'll be. They're going to be in the championship series, and they're going to have a very, 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 very good chance to make the World Series because, the team is just ridiculous. That lineup is otherworldly, you could say, and they're playing like it at the biggest moments in the season, which is something maybe we're not accustomed to seeing from the Dodgers besides 2020. So Kike Hernandez has been playing phenomenal. Tommy Edman has been playing phenomenal. Really, so their supporting cast has also done a great job helping out that big 3 at the top of the lineup. So yeah, Dodgers pretty much sealed the deal last night.
Yeah. Anyway, that all continues tonight. There's 2 more games tonight in the AL and NLCS. Also last night, a dominant win for the Denver Broncos. They rolled the Saints 33-10. I don't know about you, but I feel like this almost says more about the Saints than it does about Denver. Boy, I don't know. I think New Orleans is in a bad spot. We talk about some teams that have looked bad, like the Jaguars and the Patriots, who play each other. Of course, we mentioned that again here this weekend on Sunday morning over in London. But the Saints, I mean, think about off to a 2-0 start, and then injuries have just ravaged that team and continuing to ravage them to the point where they can't hang with anybody. I know you talked about it yesterday, saying, you hope to see Denver run the ball a little bit better. They did do that. 225 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. That's what they have to do.
Yeah.
To take the pressure off of Bo Nix. I said they need to get off to a fast start, and they kind of did. They did strike first, I guess. They got a couple field goals and then a touchdown. Javonte Williams had 2 of them last night. But they kind of got off to a better start. I did say the defense needed to have a bounce-back game, and I think they would, and they did. They were very good. Not only defensive touchdown, but I think they sacked Spencer Rattler 6 times, forced 2 fumbles. The defense was really, really good last night for Denver, which does have some injury issues as well. No Alex Singleton in the linebacking core, and no Pat Surtain with a concussion trying to work his way back from that. Bo Nix was okay last night. 164 passing yards, 75 yards rushing. Had a big 30-yard quarterback keeper there in that game. But yeah, it's a nice win for Denver, but I almost feel like it says more about the Saints and where they're at than maybe where Denver is at this point in time.
Yeah, the Saints, what a 180 in the first 4 or 5 weeks, I don't even know what week we're in anymore, but for the first 5 games, the first 2, they scored 90 points in the first 2 weeks. Nuts. And now I know they don't have Derek Carr, but that doesn't change much. If Derek Carr is playing in that game, they probably lose. Maybe they score a touchdown, but they're not getting anywhere close in that game. So, I thought Spencer Rattler impressed me last week. This week, not so much. There
was tape on him. You get tape on him, and that changes. Jake Haener looked good in the final series. Came in and replaced him. I was kind of surprised Jake Haener didn't get the start over Rattler, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm not sure
that game last night, but
the extent of Derek Carr's injury. But if he's not playing next week, maybe we will see Jake Haener. But it was a rough watch to see that Saints team just really struggle like that. Also, I don't know what your opinions are. Those jerseys they wore last night were terrible.
The Broncos?
No, the Saints.
The Saints? Aren't they kind of throwback-ish?
Yeah, but the yellow it's not. I don't like. I'm really not a fan. I don't know. Maybe.
I guess it did not bother me as much. I guess I really didn't even take notice, so I didn't think they were that bad. I guess personally, maybe I'm wrong.
But
F&B Bank text line is firing up here real quick. Michael, who's a big Broncos fan, talks first and foremost about should have had 14 more points, but Bo put 2 passes in the grass in front of receivers. But big win for the Broncos, and God bless Bo Nix. Tap those brakes a little bit there, Michael. I don't know. Bo Nix has been fine. He's definitely learning. To me, I think he's one of the harder young quarterbacks to figure out. Like, is this guy gonna be good? Is he not gonna be good? I don't know yet. Sorry. Anyway, what do you had something to say?
No idea. For the first quarter, first half of that game, when I first turned it on, I was still so in baseball mode after that game I just watched. I really wasn't, analyzing every single play as I normally would if that wasn't as entertaining of a baseball game as it was. But yeah, I just think the Saints have quickly turned from one of the best teams to one of the worst teams in a matter of weeks.
It is. And I think injuries have played a humongous part in that. They were without 2 of their best receivers last night in Rashid Shaheed. And then you have no Chris Olave as well. So things are just kind of a little bleak there in New Orleans. The fans are already putting bags on their heads.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. That is rough. Very rough. But
hey,
you know what? Doesn't matter. A win is a win if you're a Denver Bronco fan. It doesn't matter how it came or who it was against. A win is a win, and you're above 500. You're 4-3. And they have a chance to get to 5-3 because they take on Carolina after a little 10-day bye here, kind of. You get a bye on Sunday, and you play again the next Sunday. They get Carolina coming up here, which should be. It's definitely become more difficult since Andy Dalton took over, but I do think that should be a decent chance to get a win. And then the schedule gets really brutal. I think they have the Chiefs and the Ravens back-to-back weeks, as they were talking about the telecast. So. But hey, you got to win the games that you're given there, and the Broncos did that last night, 33-10. And I think the biggest thing, like Max brought up yesterday, running the football is the biggest thing for the Broncos, and they got it done. 225 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. It's got to be that way going forward. Got to find a way to run that football.
They've got the guys too. They have the running back group to run the football a lot. I think. So yeah, if they continue to trust it, it takes so much pressure off Bo Nix, and he's also been able to run the ball well in all their wins. He's run the ball well. So yeah, I think if they can stick to that running game, especially when they play the Chiefs, that can give the Chiefs some problems with a quarterback scramble. So we'll see.
Well, they just need to pick their spots with Bo. If they pick their spots correctly, like they did yesterday, and he knows that, hey, I'm going to give him yards, can't get out of bounds or slide or whatever. If he can be smart about it, that'll be huge for them.
Yep.
And that's a huge weapon because that makes it 11-on-11 football. All right. Anyway, speaking of 11-on-11 football, tonight it is week 7 of the high school football season. Friday Night Lights kicks off tonight. A great slate of high school football games this evening, and some really good games across all different levels. If we're being totally open and honest, there's some really good games across all levels. We talked earlier in the week about with, of course, head coach Aaron Schromick of Rollins County about his Buffalo team at home hosting Josiah Pattengall and Decatur Community in a matchup of 2 very good running backs that are meeting. That's a great game this weekend in 8-man football. You got number 1 ranked Hoxie going to St. Francis. St. Francis got off to a 3-0 start. It's been a tough stretch since then, facing off against some of the better teams in their district, but still an interesting game there between the Indians of Hoxie and the Indians of St. Francis. You'll have Wallace County hosting Logan Palco. Number 2, Weskin goes to Northern Valley in 6-man. You've got Shiloh hosting Tri-Plains Brewster. Quinter will host Wichita County. Golden Plains hosts Western Plains, not only in football, but in volleyball as well. And you've got Oakley going to Smith Center tonight. I was looking at the Massey ratings, and so for Max, who doesn't know what the Massey ratings are, the Massey ratings is this interesting website that somebody puts together and it's a compilation of high school football games, and they kind of put the spread and the over-unders and all that for these high school football games in Kansas. And I was looking at this, and they had Smith Center beating Oakley by I think they gave Oakley like a 1% chance to win this game. I'm telling you right now, that is not happening, folks. Smith Center is not that great this year. They are not. They're usually a powerhouse program. They're not this year. Oakley is going to make it a more competitive game than whatever in the world the Mass rating thinks it is. It will be if you could put money on that game, which don't, but if you could, I would say take Oakley to cover that pretty easily. I think there's predicted maybe a 3-touchdown dog. I'm like, game will be way, way closer, in my opinion, between Oakley at Smith Center, which will be a very intriguing game tonight. So I look forward to seeing those games. There's an interesting game going on over there in Colby tonight, which Max will have coverage of on 100.3 The Ride, as the Lakin Bronx are in town, and they run one of my favorites. In fact, not one of my favorite offense, the triple option. Oh, I love it. Absolute beautiful football when ran. And tell you what, they run it really good there at Lakin. This will be a great test for that Colby rush defense.
Yeah, well, it's a must-win for Colby after the last 2 weeks. But Coach Mosier was telling me yesterday that these guys he was proud of how focused they were and how the seniors have kind of regrouped this team after the 2 blowout losses in a row. But yeah, this is going to be a tale of 2 completely different offenses. Colby is going to want to throw the ball like they always do, and Lakin likes power option football. So it's going to be interesting to see, the contrast in those 2 offenses. But yeah, this is a must-win game. And, talking to Coach Mosier, we were kind of going over the playoff scenarios. So Colby and Goodland are kind of friends this week. Colby needs a win, obviously, but they also need Goodland to win. So that way that next week, there's a bigger chance, I believe, if Colby wins this week and Goodland wins, that we could be looking at a Colby playoff appearance.
Yeah, I know. I once again, it's a new playoff format this year, and so we're all kind of figuring it out as we go a little bit. I still think that the top 4 teams in the district makes the postseason. I think I could be wrong on that, but I think in each district, so it would certainly help. I mean, Colby no doubt needs. They have the tiebreaker over Hugoton, which is huge because Hugoton right now sits in the last place spot. And so that would be very, very, so that's the big thing that they do have. And they do have, and yes, it would be helpful if Goodland beats Scott City for not only Colby's purposes, but for Goodland's. But yeah, I think to me, if, and once again, I'm still learning this new playoff system and I'll get more comfortable in the years to come, but I believe Colby is going to make the postseason. The question is where you're going to go in that first round. And I think it's going to be a very tough team a long ways away, would be my guess.
That could be true. But from Coach Mosier yesterday, I had him. We pulled up the brackets. He wanted to look at it himself, but he told me that if Goodland loses, if Scott City wins, Colby needs to. I think this week you can't have a win and a Goodland loss. They need both to happen in order for them to have a chance next week to make the playoffs. Because I believe if Goodland loses, then the game next week doesn't matter as far as getting into the playoffs. I think what he was saying is there's a playoffs and then there's a bowl game that Colby might be hosting if they don't make the playoffs. Is what he said. So we'll get that all cleared out.
I got to get that cleared out. I got to understand the bracket better, I guess, because to me,
it was very confusing.
It still is. It still is quite confusing to me. And maybe John Betts, our guest who joins us here in a few minutes, can help us clear this up a little bit. But
yeah, that'd be great.
I don't know. I think once again, I thought, and once again, I am not an expert, but I thought that the top 4 teams in each district make the postseason. It's the 5th team, which is Hugoton currently. And I don't know how Hugoton, barring they beat Goodland, to then kind of put the numbers into play, like point differential and things of that sort. If they beat Goodland in 2 weeks, and let's say Goodland loses to Scotts this weekend, then all of a sudden there's a whole jumble of who and what, because then you'll have Goodland and Colby both have just one district win, so on and so forth. And then it'll kind of come down to, I don't know. I'll have to dig deeper into that. That's a very valid point. I mean, here's the thing. I'll take Coach Mosier, who probably follows it a whole lot closer and is head coach. I'll take his word over mine. But I could have sworn that the top 4 teams from each district get into the playoffs. It just depends on your seeding on where that goes. But I'll take a peek at that here during the break and find out more. But here's the thing. Colby's going to have to stop a triple option attack of Lakin. Lakin's having a solid season. They're 4-2 as well. The triple option is so hard to stop because they run it all the time, and teams are not used anymore now to playing against it and stopping it. So it's very difficult to do. And so that's why it's a big point for Colby, who has at times struggled against the run. And even though you may bottle it up for a quarter, they don't care. They're going to keep running it and running it and running it and running it. And if you change defenses, they got a playbook for that, and they're going to run it and run it some more. And then they're going to hit you for a play action pass, and they're going to burn you deep. That's how that works. Hopefully, from Colby's perspective tonight, that offense finds its footing again. I can't tell you how shocked I was that they only put up 178 yards against Goodland. I was shocked. I thought for sure they'd have more yards. I thought for sure they'd have more than just one touchdown. Give a lot of credit to Goodland's defense. But man, yeah, I don't know. I think that's just crazy that they only had 178 total yards in that game.
Yeah, and I think this is another thing I was talking to Coach Mosier about yesterday is that first drive of the game against Goodland where they got to the 10-yard line and just stalled. I think if they put that into the end zone, we might be looking at a different game. I'm not sure exactly what happens, but I think they need to get off to a fast start this week badly, because their offense cannot afford to have a turnover on downs, a turnover, and not score points until the late in the second quarter or even the third quarter. The offense needs to get going early. So I think the first drive is going to show a lot about how this game is going to go, and it really has in the last 2 weeks for Colby, because they haven't scored early in games like they were at the beginning of the year. I mean, you were seeing 60-yard touchdowns, big chunk plays in the first drive every single week, and that's not happening anymore. So I think Colby needs to have a long, good drive that ends in 7 points to start this game against Lakin, and we could be looking at a Colby win.
Anyway, big game tonight, 100 point through the ride. Max will have coverage for you there starting at 6 o'clock Central Time with pregame. Before we get to break, quickly, Goodland football tonight on the road at Scott City. Big game tonight. It's actually one of Sports in Kansas's top 15 games, according to their rankings. I mean, here's the thing. Goodland has had zero, and I want to say zero success against Scott City in football for now 2 decades. They've lost 20 straight against Scott City by an average score of 40-7. Wow. Yeah, Scott City is a dominant football program. Max doesn't know this. He'll find out here in a week. Scott City is a dominant program.
I'm learning.
They run the football very well. They are probably the most physical football team in the GWAC. And that has always been, in my opinion, the biggest thing that's held Goodland back is that they can't match the physicality for 4 quarters with Scott City. And most teams can't. But tonight, you know what? Maybe it's not about being physical. Maybe it's about finding the loopholes in the game of football a little bit. Maybe it's the big thing will be, as always, on the line of scrimmage. Can you protect your passing quarterback to give him time to find the open receivers? I don't know if Scott City can cover receivers, especially the depth of receiver that Goodland has. I don't know if they can do that. But I know Scott City's defense at this point has allowed a measly 5 points per game and 200 yards per game. They're elite defensively. They do not give up much. It's very difficult to score, and it's very difficult to move the ball against Scott City because of that physicality.
Yeah,
Goodland has a good offense. They really do. This is a good offensive team, but they are going to be very much tested here tonight.
Yeah, Scott City has allowed 18 total points in district. Or excuse me, hold on. Let me find that really quick. I think it's like 9.
20. Yeah, it's like 9.
Crazy.
They haven't allowed
up softball. Hold on.
They haven't allowed a single point for 3 weeks coming in. They have not allowed a single point. They are elite defensively.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, the Scott City team is very, very good at football, and I'm learning that they've been very good at football
for a
long time now. So us and Colby, if it is true that the Colby needs Goodland to win, we'll be rooting here in Colby for Goodland. I'll be giving updates on that game.
It will take everything. It'll take everything, all the cheering power that you have over there, Max. If you could send the way, that'll be great. I'm not saying that Goodland doesn't have a chance. It just if you go back through the history, it's been a tough game for Goodland to try and win. I know 3 years ago, I think it was one of the closest games it's been. It was 20-6, and that was the year that Scott City went a very shockingly 4-5 on the year. And it was one of the blips on the radar. And if Goodland's going to win this game, they're going to have to get big plays, probably in the passing game. It'll be very hard to run, and they're going to have to. The wind could play a factor, which is not good for passing teams. So you're going to have to play that correctly. It's going to be a challenge tonight. But the big thing is, if you're Goodland, you got to hope you strike big in the passing game, and you got to try and match that physicality, play in and play out as much as you possibly can.
And last thing, really quick, I did find it. Scott City is 4-0 against district opponents, outscoring them 151-8.
Yes, that's correct.
Wow,
this is a very good Scott City program, year in and year out. And once again, offensively, I don't think they're as good as they've been in the past. They don't really have a star running back that they've had in the previous years. They got a solid quarterback. Their offense is not as good as it's been in the past. But their defense is elite, which makes it a fascinating matchup between a very good Cowboy offense and a very good Scott City defense. Who wins that battle tonight will determine more than likely how this game outcomes. So anyway, fascinating game tonight. We'll have coverage right here on Rocket 102.5. And that'll begin at 5 o'clock Mountain Time. Okay, let's get to a break. When we come back, John Bett's going to join us for a conversation on local high school sports from Kansas Pregame Magazine. You're listening to the Morning Blitz.
At FNB Bank, we know family comes first. Whether you're opening a savings account for your kids, buying a new home, or planning for the future, we're here to help every step of the way. With personalized service and flexible options, we make banking easy for your growing family. FNB Bank, serving families, strengthening communities. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning. This is Tom Solito with the Anderson Trade Group with your overnight market report on October the 18th. Beef corn was up 2 at 408.5, March up 2 at 423, and May up 1.5 at 430. November soybeans are up 2 at 990.5, Jan up 2.5 at 10 even, and March up 3 at 1012. Kansas City hard red winter wheat, December was down 3 at 593, March is down 3 at 606.5, and May is down 3 at 616. Dow Jones is currently down 78 points at 43,444. S&P is up 14 points at 5,900. NASDAQ is up 108 points at 20,476. Gold is slightly up at 27.25. and crude oil is slightly down at $70.33 a barrel. If you're out in the Colorado area and have any grain to market or risk management questions, please call John Hanke or John Stiles at 970-744-4484, or you can call the Overland Park office. Myself, Tom Saludo, Jared Lawler, Tyler Ghosh at 913-748-3000. Thank you.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Out here, we raise stronger people, stronger crops, and we proudly raise our flag to that. Let the weather, pests, and pressures try to beat us down. We only keep growing up. With the next-gen genetics, the pure acre-for-acre know-how of these soils, and a deep pride of our roots, we're born to raise at Hogemeyer. Learn more at therightseed.com.
When challenging conditions arise, we don't back down. We up our game. Outpacing the competition with innovations fueled by Bayer's R&D, keeping you equipped with an expanded portfolio, elite genetics, and additional local test plots. Channel leads the field, so you can rise above. See how you can save at channel.com/finance24. Read and follow pesticide label directions, grain marketing, and other stewardship practices.
Even though your attention has turned back to school with events and activities, you just can't forget everything going on at home. That's where your local Hoover Lumber Ace hardware stores in Goodland and Colby come in. Keep the lawn in check with mowers, blowers, and trimmers from Craftsman, Toro, and Ego. They are still your local Benjamin Moore paint retailer, and they still have that amazing selection of outdoor grills and griddles from Traeger, Weber, and Blackstone. Plus, their helpful and knowledgeable staffs are some of the best in the Northwest. It's all at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby. Open every day but Sunday.
Available at Next Tech Wireless in 4 bold colors: black, pink, teal, and ultramarine. Which iPhone 16 color will you choose? Built for Apple Intelligence with the all-new A18 chip, a new feature camera control, and a big boost in battery life. Get the new iPhone 16 on us. Next Tech Wireless. Home on the range.
It's the Morning Blitz.
We're having a great time, couple of laughs, everything's nice.
Weekday mornings from 7 to 8 Mountain, 8 to 9 Central.
So I was doing some crack research during the break, looking at the bracket. So it's the top 4 teams from each district that make the postseason. Colby right now is 4th. They have the tiebreaker over Hugoton, who is 0-2. Colby will make the postseason as long as Hugoton doesn't. I mean, they're going to have the tiebreaker over Hugoton, and so it could come down to, just depends. If whoever ends up having one district win going into the final week with Hugoton, I know it's right now as it sits here, Colby's in the postseason officially.
I think it also, you have to think that Colby's going to play Scott City next week.
I get that, but they still have one win. And Hugoton has Holcomb still and Goodland. And so really, if you're Colby, you're hoping for Hugoton to go 0-2 the rest of this regular season. And then they are the 5 seed. They will not make the postseason. Colby will be the 4. They'll make the postseason. Now, they'll be a 13 through 16 seeded team, which means you're going to go on the road to someone really good like Andale or Heston or Cheney or something like that and have to play a very, 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 very difficult team. But you're in the postseason. There are 20 teams in 3A on the western side of the state. 16 teams make the postseason. So just don't be the 5th one in your district. I believe that's how that works. John Betts, he probably knows more. He joins us from Kansas Pre-Game Magazine. John, do you know this playoff system better than we do?
I don't know it as good as the guys at K-Preps do, but I kind of understand it. And it looks like Colby would match up. District 8 matches up with District 7, so Colby would go on the road to Cheney.
I think that's different.
Wichita Collegiate.
See, but I think it's changed this year, John, from even that. That was last year's playoff system, I think. Well,
then I need to do a little digger deep.
See, I believe they reseed it, and I think they reseed it. And based upon it's I'm going to read the Keisha handbook for you. Here we go, folks. So, East and West teams are seeded 1 through 16 based on their district game results and their overall 8-game record. The higher seeded team will host each playoff game. So, if you're a district champion, let's just say it's Scott City for fun. They're sitting in the captain's chairs right now. They would be the 1 seed. Any district champion on your side, where it's East to West, is the 1 through 4 seed. If you're a district runner-up, you're 5 through 8, depending on the record against others. If you are a third place team, you're seeded 9 through 12. In this case right now, if we ended the season today, that would be the Goodland spot. And if you're Colby, you're the 4th place team. You're seeded 13 through 16. Now, how does Colby rank up against the other four seeds in the other districts? Depends if they're the 13 or the 16. That's how that works. There you go. The crash course from the handbook of Cation.
I appreciate that. I tend to focus so much on the preseason that sometimes I may miss those updates about the postseason. So you've educated
me. A lot of updates, even in volleyball. It's humongously different this year than what it's been. It used to be kind of you'd play. Seeing what they're trying to do. More education for those out there. What they're trying to do is prevent having a lot of great teams that are in the same district or sub-state have to play each other and then only have one of those teams represented. Instead, maybe 2 of those or 3 of those teams are able to make it to the state tournament in basketball, for example, or make a deeper run in the postseason instead of them beating each other up in their own sub-state or district. That's the reason why they're doing this.
And hopefully that works. I mean, because, that's it's been pretty disappointing for a while to see so many really good teams go to, one sub-state and now, and I also hope that they are going to do something to address track as well. When you have the Beloit Regional has 5 kids throw over 50 foot and shot, and they, and 3 of those kids don't get to go or something along those lines. It's that's pretty disappointing for those kids. So yeah, and it should be, if this works as expected, it should be a relatively easy fix. It shouldn't be all that hard to, especially track when you're talking about measurables. You ought to be able to, I realize conditions may be different from one place to the other, but yes, seems like there might be some positive advances in creating more, allowing for the best teams to get those opportunities to play deeper into the postseason.
We're visiting with John Betts of Kansas Pregame Magazine here on the Morning Blitz. John, what are your thoughts on the season to this point in time overall?
I think there are more classes that maybe have more parity. Now that I say that out loud, I'm not even sure. It's what we did just this last week was we decided to start ranking tiers because you used to not be able to find any rankings, and now we're inundated with rankings, I think. So you've got a couple different statewide media polls where people are voting on it from across the state and then from different organizations. And some of those guys like to rank 10 teams. I think it's really hard to rank 10 teams. I only rank 5 teams when I'm doing my rankings on KansasPregame.com. And so, but I think there's tiers. You look at 3A. I think Andale and Cheney are in a tier all their own, and they're probably 14 points better than everybody else in the classification at that level. But 2A seems like it might be a lot deeper. So Nemaha Central, southeast of Saline, Norton is right there. I actually put them in a second tier because I watched them play against Beloit and I had some question marks. But I think the margins for those tiers are tighter than the others. So it's difficult to say for sure, whether there's more parity, more competition. I do think one of the great questions that comes out of this season is Axtell, are they the greatest 8-man team to ever play the game? I'm pretty confident that they would beat anybody in the 8-man level in both divisions by at least 3 touchdowns. They are just absolutely outstanding. As long as it's really important for them to keep the Schmesley kid healthy, but they still have incredible depth, and it sounds like they've got some young kids coming up, and they're going to be a force reckoned with for years to come. So, and that's interesting to me. The 8-man one maybe doesn't have a team that's as good as the top 3 teams in 8-man 2, and those top 3 teams probably all come out of the same district in Axtell, Hanover, and Frankfurt, and we get to see Axtell and Hanover settled on the field this evening. But I kind of went all over there. But in short, I love football. The season's been fantastic. I also love modern technology because I can watch about 8 games at the same time and flip back and forth from all kinds of different games. And I do miss watching as many as I used to in person, but I do like getting to see schools from all over the state on really good, high quality digital online coverage.
No, for sure. John Betts joining us from Kansas pregame on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. What are some of the big games you're thinking that'll be really good ones here this weekend, John?
Silver Lake and Osage City. I think we've talked before about that district that is Osage City, Council Grove, Silver Lake, St. Mary's, Riley County. One of those really outstanding 2A teams is going to set at home, and it's looking like it's maybe going to be St. Mary's, but they've lost 2 games by just a handful of points. Osage City seems to be putting one of the best teams in their program's history on the field, and have big wins already on the season, and are doing great things. A little closer to home for me, Lincoln having one of the best seasons in program history, won 5 games in a row for the first time in at least, I think, 12 years, maybe 14 years. They go across county to play Sylvan Lucas, a team that has beat them, I believe, 6 years in a row. An incredible rivalry since Lincoln dropped down to 8-man. And this is potentially could be for a district championship, although Clifton Clyde kind of upset Sylvan Lucas last week. Those are a couple of games that are immediately on my radar.
John, what's one team that has really surprised you throughout this portion of the season?
I think Goodland has been quite the surprise. I think that we all knew that they were going to do some things to take advantage of the weapons that they have, and that they were going to put a better product on the field this year than they had in recent past. But I was pretty surprised about their dominance over Colby, because I thought Colby was putting a pretty quality product on the field this year. And we all want to talk about Lincoln Cure, and yes, he's outstanding, but when you look at the way that they did it, they threw the ball to multiple receivers. I think they had 3 different guys that had 50+ yards receiving, and then they get 120 yards rushing out of the backfield. And that's a team that's been really pretty impressive, and it's nice to see. They've struggled on the football field for quite a while, and it's nice to see them putting together a solid season.
John Betts is our guest from Kansas pregame. A couple quick ones for you, John, before we let you go. I wanted to get your quick thoughts on just the great number and talent of backs there seems to be in the state this year, whether it's Ryan Schromick, up at Rollins County, Josiah Pattengall's another one for us here in kind of our neck of the woods. There's other great backs across the state. Can you talk to me a little about the great depth of the back position in Kansas this year?
Yeah, Holden Lynn at Hayes High is a kid that's having a great season as well. The really cool thing about the back position in modern football, it used to be that it was a lot of 3 yards in a cloud of dust back in my day, and you were going to have a tailback, or you were maybe you were going to have a fullback tailback combo, something like that were going to rush for a lot of yards. But what I like is that you see a lot of these backs not just dotting the top of the I formation, but also splitting out into the slot position, catching the ball, going in motion, taking the ball on jet sweeps. And the modern offense is really fun to watch. And the things that they do with those backfield players, like your you're talking about. And also, Ryan Schromick, what's he weigh? 125, 130 pounds if they put a couple of bricks in his pants. But that's a tough kid. When you carry the ball 30, 40 and has even carried it 50 times a game, and you have that kind of a slight build, you got to appreciate how tough a kid like that is. And you'll see that at the 6A level too. Like Arius Finley is a sophomore kid at Derby High School who's just a diminutive guy, but he still gets it done as one of the best players in the state of Kansas. But I like to see the versatility of the backs that we have in the modern offensive schemes.
Final one for you, John. It's hard to believe, but the fall sports season for a good number of teams is over in pretty much 2 months, and basketball seems to be upon us before we know it. How is the winter edition of Kansas Pregame Magazine coming along?
Well, we've made tremendous strides with basketball, and actually our feature photo shoot for basketball and wrestling is coming up on Sunday. So we'll be bringing kids from all over the state into Rolling Hills Zoo and Salina to do our feature photo shoot. And then I'm sure they'll all have to rush back to get back to their various fall sports practices, because as you start to get in the postseason, sometimes you're going to have those Sunday night things. But I wish we had a little better return of wrestling questionnaires. We don't get, wrestling coaches. I think that you probably have more Rule 10 head coaches in wrestling. And so sometimes it's a little more difficult to get in touch with them because they're outside of the school system. So if there are any wrestling coaches out there listening and they know that they haven't turned their questionnaire in yet, we could sure use it back.
There you go. From the man himself, John Betts of Kansas Pregame Magazine, joining us on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. John, thank you so much for the time. Go grab that Keisha manual. Brush up on that postseason, all right?
Yes, I need to do that. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John. Oh, so once again, for those who are confused on the postseason, it's not the old format anymore. Top 4 teams from each district advance to the postseason. That's like what it was, but you are seated differently. It's not you don't have a crossover district. It's based upon the records. Will match up based upon, where you finish in your district and your overall record. So it will I did it yesterday. I got out the whiteboard. I got out the marker board and I did some figuring, did some calculating to kind of see if the season ended today, where were certain teams going to be playing. I figured out Goodland, if the season ended, would be going to Marysville, which would be a jaunt of a road trip. But Marysville, by the way, is like north of Manhattan for you out there. So that'd be a long ways to go. Not Maryville, Marysville.
Right. I was thinking.
Yeah, Marysville.
Got it.
Which is north of Manhattan. So that's where Goodland will be going if the season ended today. Now we still have 2 big weeks ahead of the regular season, of course, with one of those being here tonight. Okay, we're going to take our break. We'll come back. We will get to some quick thoughts on some of the big college football and NFL games this weekend, and the Pick 6 picks of the weekend are coming up. That's next here on the Morning Blitz.
Attention Northwest Kansas high school students. Colby Community College is offering the Colby Commitment Scholarship, a no-cost tuition, fees, and books award for Northwest Kansas high school students on free and reduced lunches and all juniors and seniors at Thomas County high schools. Don't qualify? Classes are just $50 a credit hour for tuition, fees, and books. No games, no gimmicks. It's quality education at an affordable price. Ask your guidance counselor about the Colby Commitment Scholarship or visit colbycc.edu/commitment.
The one hail of a sale continues at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Get huge savings on not just lightly hailed on vehicles, but also ones that don't have hail or have had the hail fixed. For example, a 24 GMC Sierra 1500 Denali with no hail up to $7,000 off when you're a loyal Buick or GMC owner, now just over $68,000. A 24 Chevy Tahoe RST with hail up to $14,000 off, now just $58,000. It's one hail of a sale, and it continues at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas, online at hurlchev.com.
The Farmers State Bank of Oakley has been financing agriculture since the day we opened our doors. Hello, this is Corbin, and we are proud to be your locally owned partner in ag. We invite you to come and visit with us when you need to purchase new or used farm equipment, or need any type of agriculture or business loan. We have the knowledge, experience, and financial resources to keep you growing. The Farmers State Bank of Oakley, a tradition of community and agriculture for over 115 years. Member FDIC.
Catch up on all the latest headlines, scores, and interviews from the region. This is the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer, your daily dose of sports.
All right, it's going to have to be a quick final segment here. Went long in the first segment, as usually happens, talking high school football. It's just the way it goes. But if you're curious about the weekend slate of college football, we'll hit it up for you here real quickly. You've got Kansas hosting Houston. Number 17th ranked K-State going to West Virginia. Colorado will be at Arizona. And Nebraska going to 16th ranked Indiana. We've mentioned these games throughout the week, but that's the college football slate on Saturday. And then you have the Chiefs going to the 49ers on Sunday afternoon in the NFL slate. Those are the 5 games that we'll be picking here coming up in the Pick 6 picks of the weekend in just a little bit. Just overall, those slate of games real quickly. Max, give me your thoughts on any of them or all of them, whatever you think is fascinating to you.
I think there's a bunch of all of them are going to be good, whether I like it or not. With KU being at Houston, it's going to be
okay.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into my picks on all these games, but yeah, I think this is a good slate. Honestly, I think West Virginia is a tough team. K-State coming off a very impressive win. I think that's a confident group after the win last week. And then I'm very excited with this slate.
I think K-State going to West Virginia is fascinating because it's back-to-back road games, and it's another night contest for Kansas State at a place that probably gets a little rowdy. I'm curious to see how rowdy it will be there at West Virginia because they've kind of not had the season they were hoping for. So will it be as rowdy as I think? And that's just a hard place to play at night. It's a hard place to play anytime, but especially at night. So another challenge for Kansas State playing in a primetime slot against a tough place to play West Virginia, although I don't think as a team, West Virginia is fantastic. Kansas should be able to beat Houston. Will they? I don't know. Hopefully the bye week, they made some corrections, especially defensively, to get off the field. You mentioned it earlier in the week. Colorado, Arizona faces 2 great quarterbacks and 2 great wide receivers against one another. That'll be a fantastic deal. And think about it. Tub McMillan against Travis Hunter, hopefully, if he's able to play, and he should. That'll be a great matchup there as well between those 2 guys. And then you got Nebraska, Indiana. You know what? It's Kurt Signetti, and his Indiana team is 6-0 for the first time ever. Did you know the last time Indiana won a bowl game was 1961? I couldn't believe that stat when I heard it.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous. 1961 is the last time Indiana won a bowl game. They're already bowl eligible, but they're at home. That should be a ruckus crowd. Nebraska's got to go on the road for the first time here for, I think, 2 straight weeks. And this will certainly be a challenge, but I'm curious to see if Nebraska's physicality wears on Indiana enough to get a win on the road. We'll see. And then Chiefs 49ers should just be a great game. Should be a good one. Should be a good one all the way around. All right, let's get to the walk-off and, of course, the Pick 6 picks of the weekend.
A 3-run walk-off home run, a game-winning walk-off with a walk-off. His second walk-off hit of the season. In walk-off fashion, that baby's go.
All right, so let's kick it off. KU hosting Houston.
I have KU winning and covering. I think this is going to be I think this is a week that KU is going to win by multiple touchdowns. I hope. I really hope. But I have confidence for really no reason at all. But I do think KU wins, covers, and I think they win by a couple touchdowns in this game. I think Jalen Daniels has a good game. I think the defense creates a couple turnovers that's going to help the offense out, and hopefully is something to build on for the remaining weeks of the season.
All right, we got to pick it up. I got KU winning and covering as well. K-State at Air. I've got K-State covering the 2.5.
I have K-State to win and cover as well.
Colorado, Arizona. I've got CU winning outright. I know Arizona's favored by 3. Give me CU to win outright.
I have Arizona to win and cover.
Nebraska at Indiana. I'm taking the under at 49.5.
Okay, I'm taking Indiana to win, but I think they win by a field goal.
49ers, Chiefs on Sunday. For San Francisco, a half-point favorite last I checked. Give me KC to win it outright.
Yeah, I have KC to win, and then obviously to cover because it's a half point.
How about your rando game of the week? Do you have a rando game there?
Yes, my random game is Tennessee to beat Alabama. Rocky Top. Yes, sir.
Oh,
yes,
the pressure will be on Kalen DeBoer
if
that happens. I'm going Academy football. Army hosting East Carolina. Give me the Black Knights to cover the 16.5. East Carolina can't stop the run. Army will run wild over the Pirates and win by 3 scores. There you go. The pick six picks of the weekend. Catch Max tonight at 100 Point Through the Ride, myself on 102.5 E-Rock. We'll talk to you this evening. Have a good weekend. No show Monday. We'll see you Tuesday on the Blitz.
Rocket 102.5 is KKCI, Goodland, Colby, Burlington. This is where classic rock legends take